Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. Another session brought to you virtually. During this initiative, we've been discussing with industry leaders. We have innovative solutions to bring to the community, and we'll continue to do that. Before we start today, I'd like to mention that we continue to take working from home seriously, and everyone is remote. Steve, our systems engineer, is actually in Long Island operating our TriCaster system. Today, we're pretty lucky. We have our good friend Nich Hatch, president of Ncam. Ncam is a technology leader in visual effects and virtual production. So, Nick, thank you for being with us, number one. I hope you're staying safe, number two. And number three, tell us a little bit about what Ncam does.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle, and thanks for having me. So Ncam's, I guess, is best known really for its real-time camera tracking, which in turn allows our customers to deliver a virtual production within film and television, and also live graphics within broadcast, so live to air. So we're effectively a technology company, primarily software, and we develop products for real-time visual effects.
So, give us a little insight as to which markets you really are prominent in. We know that visual effects in film and television is really prominent, but you have other areas that may not be as well known, like your
Yeah,
involvement with the sports graphics, for example. So esports. Tell us a little bit about which markets you're actually present in.
yeah, absolutely. So we tend to split them into three verticals. If we go back to Ncam and why we exist, we actually exist due to the creative process within filmmaking and visual effects. And we wanted to give the control back, creative freedom and control back to filmmakers. So when we have heavy visual effects based movies and we look through the eyepiece, and we're really seeing a lot of green or blue screen, which I'm sure everybody's aware of, it's not conducive to aligning a vision when you're on set with the stakeholders. And so we designed the technology to enable the filmmakers to visualize visual effects or a preview of visual effects through the lens as we're shooting, whether we're on location or whether we're studio. And our remit was to be able to do this with any camera, any rig, any lens, and anywhere. So that was our history. And as we developed the technology back in 2012, we were deployed on a film called White House Down, a Roland Emmerich movie. And Roland's now using it, I think, for the fourth or fifth time, which is great. And there was the real moment on that movie when we had huge blue screens of what would be the White House and the grounds, but really you're just looking at a very small practical set. And I remember on the shoot quite vividly, Roland looking through the eyepiece and looking at the monitors, and he could see in real time the visual effects, which will be there in 6-9 months time. But to be able to view that and compose your shot and frame your shot based on the real lenses was a real moment. And I think giving that confidence back to the filmmakers makes a big difference. But so that was the start, and that was back in 2012. And then Fox Sports came to us and asked whether we could tweak the technology for broadcast, for live to air broadcast. And we embraced that challenge and delivered. And we were put on Super Bowl in 2014. And that was the kind of start, really, so live to 112 million people, showing that our technology is robust enough to do that and trusted. And that was quite a moment. And then really the story's gone from there. So we typically have three verticals, and we split those into film and television. So film being the virtual production, and as we know it now, broadcast, live to air, so sports. And then we have a third vertical that we call live events. So that might be Fortnite when we go live in a stadium for the World Cup, so the audience can see the sort of we bring the game to the audience. We bring elements of Fortnite so that the stadium can see those bits of games as augmented reality on large LED screens. So yeah, we have across the board, whether it's Star Wars Solo, or whether it's Game of Thrones, Fortnite, or we're delivering something for Verizon or CNN. These are all our customers in different verticals.
Yeah, we actually, the way we encountered our first relationship was we were coming to client Verizon, and I think your technology was really exposed to us, and we realized that it would be a great partnership. But that's a side story. What's really been in the news is new development that you've announced recently. Um, I think it's a tremendous leap forward in the technology that you're providing. So tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're really excited by this, and I think by the noise that we're getting at the moment and the interest, it's quite phenomenal, and especially in these times. So we're super proud of what's going on, and so I could talk a bit more about that. So today, or yesterday, we were selling what we refer to as the Mark One. So that is this device, which we call the Ncam camera bar. So the best way to describe this, what we're trying to achieve is really a digital replica of the real camera. And that means that when we put augmented reality through it, or real-time visual effects, we want those graphics to stick there in three-dimensional space. So as we move the camera, we need those graphics to look like they're in that space and stuck there on the ground or in the background. And there's a couple of things you need for that. One is camera tracking, so positional XYZ, and rotational XYZ. So we need to really accurately define that in real time. And this device really works a little bit like we do as humans. It's stereo vision. It has an understanding of depth, and it understands space automatically in real time. And it maps the area a bit like our eyes do. We understand where we are in space. And then we have other sensors, so around 12 sensors in total inside here. So these are two optical cameras, and then we've got other mechanical sensors, IMU devices, gravity sensors, that kind of thing. And that, a bit like our ears, so we can see and we can hear, but we understand depth as we do as humans. And this is a great device, and it gets used, pretty much. There'll be someone somewhere using it every hour of the day, somewhere around the world right now as I'm talking, and that's great. And we are very proud of that, and we're very proud of our customers and our customer retention. But I think what we wanted to do was we wanted to understand the feedback from our customers, and how could we improve on every single level, and what were they looking for. And so we asked them, and we spent a long time understanding their needs and requirements. They really wanted some kind of ultimately creative freedom. They didn't want to be limited by technology. When you get a camera, whether it's on your shoulder, or whether it's handheld, or whether it's on a jib, or whether it's on a wire cam, wherever it is and whatever it's doing, we want to be able to track that camera accurately and add graphics, right? So, and whether that's in real time, or whether we want to save the data for later on. So all of those things, the accuracy, reliability, flexibility, and cost effectiveness. And we came up with a device which is what we call the Mark II, and which is here. So you can see the size difference, right? It's a big difference. I think this comes in under 300 grams, and and this is like 1.3 kilos, so a huge difference there. And we partnered with Intel, so we based it on Intel RealSense technology, and then we also decided to create a mini server, which is the Mark II server, to process all that data. So which is here. So this comes in at under a kilo. Does all your processing, video, I/O, and these two combined are actually lighter than just the Mark I camera bar. So that's what we're proud of. That's what we're showing or today, and obviously it would have been a launch at NAB.
So it's a far cry from bringing a DIT card on set with two pretty sizable servers to make sure that you could operate sort of accurate real-time camera tracking. So was mobility a main motivation for you to go to that kind of development? Was it also the fact that you need to be more nimble in deployment for your system, so you don't have two servers that need to follow all around? Is there also an emphasis put on wireless connectivity?
Yeah, exactly. I think you're totally right. I think it's all of those things, and so we really went back to the drawing board, and I think we really decided as a company that what are we good at Ncam? What are we best at doing? And what we're best at doing is software development, not necessarily hardware. And so we decoupled the two in many ways, and so that's why we could use the Intel RealSense hardware, not their software, but their hardware. And so something really light, and the fact is that you can pretty much mount that on any type of camera or any rig, right? And it just gives you that flexibility. It's also super rugged, and the way it's been designed, it's a really great device built for the professional environment. And it's all about trying to lower that barrier to entry as well, trying to enable pretty much anyone with almost hopefully most budgets can use and deliver real-time visual effects, because as we have seen, and as we see during the next few years, I think we'll start to see a lot of real-time visual effects delivered in camera, finished in camera, and a lot of that is to do with games engine technology. So we embrace that in a big way, and we've been working on that for years, effectively taking a games engine and making it or converting it into a real-time compositor that can composite live action video and graphics, which sounds simple, but when you're doing it in a few frames, not so much. So that quality level is really important, and so we do a lot of development with the likes of Unreal Engine, the guys at Epic, and we've done R&D projects with those guys, and we continue to do so, which is super exciting. So it's as much about that as well, about changing the possibilities, whether you're live to air broadcast, whether you're creating a kids TV show, or whether you're launching your new Ford pickup truck that we did with them in Detroit Motor Show.
So you touched upon your relationship with Unreal Engine. I think that's critical. It's critical to the concept of how you've developed your technologies. You've developed technology based on other platforms, partnerships, and relationships you have with game engines. But also, I think you've gone, and that's on the computer side, and the gaming, rendering, real time, ray tracing, all kinds of things, that sort of relate to what was traditionally the post-production side of things. But on the production side, I think you've also started recognizing that there were other partners that you need to engage with, and aside from camera manufacturers, of course. But more importantly, you've recognized the need to capture lens data Optical data has been very important. For everything that you do, you need to calibrate your lenses. You need to make sure that you understand, which focal length you're at, where the focus is, the depth of field. All these things are critical. So, tell us a little bit about how you've engaged people in the optical community to say, okay, it's important for us to deliver a complete set of metadata that allows people on the back end, to use our technology even better.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And when you talk about camera tracking, there's actually two sides to camera tracking. So you've got your what we call 6 degrees of freedom. So that's XYZ position, XYZ rotation. That's critical, absolutely, totally. But there's another critical part to this, and that's lens calibration. So as you move your camera around, and as you zoom, as you focus, your optics change, right? And that's for everybody, any lens, and prime lenses or zoom lenses. And it might be in ENG for broadcast, or it could be anamorphics. And so you have to cover all of that. And so part of what we've developed is a full lens profiling capability and functionality. But having said that, it can be time consuming, and there are lens manufacturers out there that have really thought about this, and I think the next few years is going to be really, really exciting, because it's all about making it easier, right? Easier for the customer, easier for the end user, easier for everybody to create real-time visual effects, and that plug and play capability. So we've developed the camera tracking side, and we've got some amazing new hybrid capabilities with natural features, non-natural features, fiducials, object tracking. That's all coming down the pipe. But if we can get lens data from the manufacturer, wouldn't that be great? And Zeiss, and Cook and Fujinon, and Arri, to some extent, they're all working on this, and we have developed a new Mark II system and a software called Ncam Reality to hook into that. So effectively, if you have a Zeiss with supporting /I and XD, we can read that data straight off the bat. So it's plug and play. You should be setting up a system within minutes and good to go. And I think that's where it needs to get to, right? We're trying to, I guess, democratize real-time VFX is part of our remit, and we want everybody to be able to afford it, and we want it to be easy to use, and that's the big stepping stone we're seeing with this new product. And because it's software, we just continue developing, right? We just continue adding features, making it easier and easier and easier and better. And that's crucial. And what we've also done, and what we've heard from customers is, they've just been saying, look, we want the flexibility. We want flexibility to have a subscription model. We don't necessarily want to buy systems. We want to use them, whether that's monthly or yearly. There are now options, and I think lowering that barrier to entry, enabling that, it is great, and I think we're really excited to see that capability, especially in the lens calibration, because that's a bit of a blocker to a lot of people. And I think it's all about automating the various steps, right? So if we can automate match moving, combined with removing any guesswork, right, from lens calibration, that's fantastic, and I think that's kind of where we're heading as a company.
So, is the goal for Ncam to provide the freedom for anyone who has qualified hardware, for you to be totally agnostic to these choices, and provide the freedom to create visual effects, augmented reality, real-time graphics integration to live production with an effort that would be as simple and as straightforward as possible, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we're doing is proving that fact to some degree even today. So we ship a our Mark II. Comes with everything you need in a Peli case, ready to go, single box, and it actually ships with a full compositing pipeline within Unreal Engine, and we actually ship the source code, so you can that comes with it. It bundles with it, so anybody can have that source code, play around with it. Super powerful, and what those guys are doing is phenomenal, and the team they have behind them within the sort of enterprise and space and virtual production. Where that can go and the capabilities, that's mind-boggling.
Just a testament to how simple and straightforward it is to actually put in place. At SIGGRAPH 2019 was the first time that the studio B&H and Ncam put together an effort to showcase your technology, and I'll show a little video. It's not a very high quality, but I think it's very telling. Video of a McLaren car that was placed in our booth totally virtually, rendered in real time in a space that had nothing but a printed road on the floor. And it was a head turner, and I have to tell you, in literally a couple of hours, we had everything set up. And people that were pretty sort of advanced in the industry, they said, "Oh, this is pretty cool." I think that's, I think that the fact that you're enabling, a lot of people, and not just in the visual effects or in the computer graphics side, but I think overall, I think, it's important to know that you're democratizing access to high-end visual effects.
Yeah, exactly. That is our remit. That's what we're trying to achieve, and with the help of B&H, I think that's achievable.
So, Nick, the last question, I wanted to approach with you, and we would not be approaching the current situation if we didn't say remote workflows. How does Ncam see that transition, either affecting or enabling as an opportunity to develop your technology further? And I think you're already on that road. How do you see that affecting, or how do you see Ncam sort of refocusing its efforts to make sure that we follow the new guidelines of social distancing?
Yeah, no, I think it's a poignant question for sure. And the reality is that we were involved in remote productions. We've been involved in them for some time. We delivered or helped deliver some of the World Cup back in I think it's 2014. I think I've got that right. And we were sending data about 30 kilometers one way and then 30 kilometers back. We're on the roof of on the roof of a flat in Brazil for about 9 hours a day, or the Steadicam. So we've done it multiple times. We're also able to now send data wirelessly, and we demoed that with Verizon Media on a recent Star Wars premiere. We had the after party, and if you're lucky enough to go there, you could interact with some of the stormtroopers, the red guys, which is pretty cool. So they were being driven by Unreal Engine, huge LED wall. You can look it up. There's a video. We can send a link maybe. And the cameras were being trapped by Ncam graphics driven through our Unreal Engine integration, and the data being sent via 5G by Verizon, which is pretty immense. Never seen that before. So again, that lends itself well to remote. And then what we've done with Mark II and the new software, Ncam Reality 2020, which ships with Mark II, is we've redesigned the entire interface, and it now works via a web interface. So you can remote into any system anywhere as long as you have web access. As long as you have web access, you can remote into any Ncam system and control it completely, whether it's through an iPhone or a phone or a tablet or a laptop or PC. So That is really important, we believe, for remote production. And to be candid, I think that was planned prior to COVID. I think these are all discussions with outdoor broadcast companies that actually have a requirement to go remote and to control most of their, or whatever they can, most of their technology remote. And I think it's the same goes for cameras, right? Whether it's a camera, lenses, virtual production, whatever it is, needs to be done remotely. And I think we certainly have a solution for that.
Excellent. Nick, thank you very much for being with us today, all the way from up in
Pleasure.
England. Um, so we have more sessions, for you. If you're interested in looking at our conversations with other market leaders, please check out our social media channels, our website. And until then, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone.